Good morning. How are we doing? I was away. I've been on holiday. I went to Japan, and boy, I have to say, it's been on my bucket list for some time. But Japan was absolutely amazing. Went with the family. We explored a lot. We actually traveled around Japan, backpacking. It was amazing. And so you didn't have an episode last Monday, but I'm back now. And I want to take this opportunity to talk about the markets, the global markets, investing. Because I don't know whether you noticed, but last week we had news that the S&P 500 reached an all-time high of 7,736. And on its own, you might think, well, okay, that's great, but what's the relevance? And the relevance is this. In investing, we often talk about how markets operate, how markets return, how markets tend to perform. And against the backdrop of where we are right now, where, let's be honest, we have a lot of talk about an AI bubble. We have a lot of talk about the conflicts in the Middle East. We have a lot of talk about inflation risk because of the conflicts in the Middle East and the Strait of Hormuz. And that inflation risk potentially meaning the interest rates go up. So we have a bit of a further squeeze on household income. So that makes it a lot more difficult. And because of those interest rates, we also see the impact on mortgage rates, further squeezing household incomes. So we have a lot of interconnecting issues that ultimately for an ordinary person, a retail investor, just a normal citizen in the world right now, had a lot of concern about, because it is about day-to-day survival, right? And day-to-day money management, making sure that you're okay and you can cover bills without too much anxiety or worry about what your standard of living, right? And when we talk about the market specifically, I think people often in times like this put a pause on investing, particularly with the backdrop of all of that bad news that I've just outlaid there as well. And I think it's quite curious because oftentimes when there is a lot of reticence, reluctance to invest in the market, that's often when the big money moves are being made. And that's often when, people are taking positions and making money. And I think the news of the S&P 500 hitting an all-time high last week is testament to that. Now, what might also be interesting for you to know is that this year alone, and this is an amazing stat, I had to go check this and it's true. This year alone, the S&P 500 has hit an all-time high 25 times this year alone, against all of that backdrop that I've just spoken about. And so I want to kind of use this episode to almost appeal to you, particularly if you are on the fence right now. You've been looking at the markets, you understand I should be investing. And one of the key things that has been holding you back right now is, well, what's going to happen to the markets? Now, I wish I had a crystal ball to tell you that, by the end of this year, the S&P 500 is going to be at 8,000 and all of us are going to make a load of money. But the truth is we don't know this, right? And anyone who says that they do, frankly, is going to be lying to you. But nonetheless, I feel like when it comes to investing, we know that it is a vehicle to build wealth, to create wealth for the future. It's putting your money now to work for the future. And doing so allows your money to grow whilst you sleep. And you're pretty much doing nothing for this, right? I mean, my investment portfolio is up as a result of this, has been up this year quite a bit. And if you're just on the fence right now, you haven't even started, I know that it's actually daunting. And I do want to talk a little bit about the fact that if you're over the age of, I would say 38, you're probably at a disadvantage. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. But I want to encourage you to look at it for what it is. There is a lot of hype on social media around when markets do perform and a lot of doom and gloom when they don't perform. And a lot of time this can get into people's heads. And it's great for context, it's great for information purposes, but it doesn't necessarily help you make a decision. And I feel like one of the best ways for you to really ascertain whether you should be investing, what you should be investing, how much you should be investing, really comes down to your personal circumstances. And actually, I will be doing a webinar this Sunday, which really started from the WhatsApp community. If you've not joined already, you should. I'll link it down in the show notes down below. But I ran a poll about 3 weeks ago asking people what are their big concerns right now. And one of the big things that came out was, how much should I be investing? What should I be putting in? And how do I go about getting to a position where I can understand what actually is comfortable based on my circumstances. So I'm going to be running a webinar on Sunday, which basically takes people through how to arrive at that number for you individually. So if you want to go join the webinar, I'll leave a link to it also in the show notes and in the comment section here on YouTube if you're watching the video format as well. So look, investing is really, really important. Now, if you are over the age of 38, you're going to be at a disadvantage. And I do want to talk about this because I don't know about you, but I've noticed a lot. I spend a lot of time on social media, obviously. And I'm seeing a lot of content around 20-somethings with £100,000 investment portfolio. If you've seen this, let me know in the comment section, right? Especially if you're, in your 40s right now, like a lot of you are who watch the channel. And when you see this, it's very easy to feel like you're behind. Because how does a 20-something all of a sudden have £100,000 in a portfolio when you might be looking at yours, knowing that you started late and you may have 40 grand? And I think it's really important to address this because I think the acknowledgement is that if you're over 38, you haven't had access to the raft of information that a lot of these 20-somethings are coming into right now. And because they have access to all of this information and because the internet is wide open and they've got AI and all of these tools now, them starting early is much easier. They have less inertia to start early than perhaps we did when we were in our 20s. I remember when I was in my 20s, I literally had to go and see a financial advisor. I had to have £5,000. And, who had £5,000 lying around just like that when you were in your 20s or 30s all those years ago? You probably didn't. And so I've spoken about this before. If you spent your 20s just trying to figure things out and things got serious when you were in your 30s, you probably got to your 40s once you bought a home and you've started a family where you're now thinking about the future. So you may feel as though you're a little bit behind, and that's completely fine. That's okay. That's not something that you should feel ashamed of at all. You've got to take this in your own stride because this is your own journey, effectively. But I do want to highlight, against the backdrop of what we're talking about here, that it's the inertia that you need to get over. I get it. The information wasn't available to you to start early, but the information is available to you now. And if you are 38, 40, mid-40s, procrastinating on this is going to end up costing you more in the long run than anything else. Because we're at this crucial phase, this decade of our lives, where getting the right things in place is so important. Whilst you still have the energy, the health, the ability to earn money and to put it to work. And if you're in a position where you're still kind of on the fence, you're not really too sure what you're doing here, I want to encourage you to really dive into what is necessary to really understand, look, what is your timeline, right? Because if you're in your 40s, subconsciously, you're already thinking about, well, what does retirement kind of look like? How much money am I going to need potentially in the future to be able to give my family the future that they want? If you have kids, and supporting university fees, if that's what they want to do, alongside obviously paying off mortgages, that type of thing, and then thinking about, I'm going to have to, take a step back. I don't know about you, but I'm 47 in November. I feel tired already, and I know that a lot of people feel exactly the same. So if you're not already investing, you've got to contend with all of that stuff, but at the same time, you also have to try and get ahead of, okay, so what do I actually do? And one thing that I am going to be doing on the YouTube channel this week, and this is answering a larger question that I often get, is, well, how do I ascertain exactly how much I'm going to need for those future years when I'm not going to be looking to work, where I want to kind of take a step back? And I've developed a tool specifically for that. I'm going to be doing a run through of that on Wednesday in Wednesday's video. And I would encourage you, if you're not necessarily, if you're watching this on Spotify, you don't necessarily follow the YouTube channel, go follow the YouTube channel. If you're watching this on YouTube, definitely go watch the video on Wednesday as well, because I'll showcase and walk you through that tool. But I'm trying to get you to think about the future here and think about what you can do in the moment now to actually help for the future, because the markets aren't going anywhere. The markets will always do what the markets are going to do. And if you are doing nothing with your money right now, you're going to be missing out on growth. And that isn't to say there won't be any downturns or negative periods in the markets. Yes, there will. There will be. But my point is that if you are literally working with a timeline of 10, 15, 20 odd years, which a lot of you will be, even in your 40s, right? Then we know that the markets perform better over the long term. The best time to take action is now. The best time to invest is now. It's not waiting for another 6 months or another year or 2 years. It's making sure that you're able to do the right things now. And the easiest way in which you can do this, by the way, especially if you're employed in a business, is to make sure that you're just getting the most out of your workplace pension. Honestly, it is the easiest thing. People still don't realize that their workplace pension is an investment. It's something that you've already got going on. So even if you can't invest in a personal capacity, i.e., every single month, after you've paid all of your bills, you're putting money into, say, a stocks and shares ISA. Even if you can't do that, make sure that the workplace pension is optimized, because your workplace pension would have benefited from the S&P 500 and the global markets. I mean, the global markets, when I say global markets, what I'm talking about is, global ETFs, index funds, they've also performed really, really well this year as well. Some of them have actually outpaced the S&P 500. So you're going to be in something like that in your pension fund. You'll be in a globally diversified fund. Make sure that you optimize that as much as you possibly can now. If you've got, matching scheme, try and figure out whether you can get more money out of your employer. That's free money. It might mean that you've got to sacrifice maybe another 1% or so, but you've got a matching scheme that is a very, very quick win that you can leverage immediately to get more money going in. I think with this episode, I just wanted to highlight those numbers and just really encourage you. We have a lot of noise right now, and I think whenever we talk about investing, there's always this noise, right? There's always going to be a market crash. God knows there are so many channels on YouTube talking about an impending doom of, market crashes and so on and so forth. And these things can easily put people off. But understanding that if you have 20 years, 25 years on the clock, it doesn't matter if the market crashes or not. In fact, you probably want the market to crash. The market to crash is a great reason for you to be invested. And yes, if you have money invested whilst the market crashes, you might take a little bit of a hit. But if you're pound cost averaging, investing monthly into a crashed market, that's where people make money. Why do you think the likes of, Warren Buffett and all of the big investors in this world will invest heavily when there's a market depression? Because that's where they make a lot of money. And it's understanding these fundamental principles that I think are very important. And I just want to encourage you, try and cut through the noise. Try and cut through the noise and think about your own circumstances and bringing it into your own reality and what that means for you. Don't pay attention to other people's investment portfolios. The 20-somethings with £100,000 in their investment portfolio is fantastic for them, but that's not your reality. We need to focus on what you can do and what we can do to secure our futures, being that we're in the decade of our 40s, right? That's the most important thing. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please drop it a like here on Spotify. If you're watching on video on Spotify, please drop a like there as well. On YouTube, drop a like. And if you have any questions, pop your comments, pop your questions down below as well. I'd also appreciate it. But yeah, a link to the webinar is going to be down below. And if you've not joined the free WhatsApp community just yet, I'm also going to link that as well. The WhatsApp community is really responsible for the webinar we're doing this weekend. So if you join, you can ask questions there. We can have an interaction. Cheers.